All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Elevation Call Sunday night.
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
That's
whoop.
right. Well, we're glad you're here. We have a few new people on, and we have some of us old timers. Glad we're here. So the Elevation Call we do every Sunday night, and this is the intention of the call. Lisa will kind of give you our three major points here in a second, but I like to say we call it elevation because it's really about elevating your business and elevating your understanding of how we do what we do, elevating your mindset. Maybe we all sometimes fall in a get in a rut, or we have a hard time getting out of the blocks, getting started to climb the mountain, and it really is oftentimes a climb to reach a higher elevation for business and higher income, helping more people. So it used to be called the Jeep Call because we talk a lot about earning a Jeep as a first really significant income rank, goal rank, residual income rank, earning that Jeep and the other bonus, starting on your way to earn the significant bonuses. So that's what we used to call it. And it's still a lot about that, earning the Jeep. But what we've come to understand is that elevating one's mindset, belief in yourself, belief in not just the products, they often do that for themselves, usually elevating your belief in yourself, and about the possibilities. Steve and Jenny Todd often talk about just elevating your why you're doing what you're doing, and we're expanding it. And of course, we all talk about that. So anyway, that's welcome to the Elevation Call.
And we started this team about 3.5 years ago. So those of you who are brand new tonight, just want to say welcome. You're starting an amazing journey. I never dreamed that you guys would be in our lives when I was introduced to this 3.5 years ago by a holistic dentist. And the results that my son got really in 3 days, which is a whole separate story, really motivated me to learn how to get better at just paying it forward. And so really the three main purposes that we do this business, Elise, number one is what we spent all last Sunday talking about, which is product results, life-changing product results, the ability to really modulate and fuel this new science of the endocannabinoid system, to be able to do that, to shift somebody's medicine cabinet into a wellness cabinet. That has just really captivated our hearts. Last week, if you did not hear the Elevation Call, just ask whoever invited you to this call, your upline or us, and we will share that recording with you. It was literally just 11 people that shared, but everybody really enjoyed the product results, gratitude. And then the second reason is really this financial platform. And it's the ability to ultimately separate ourselves from that really shifting time for money, just kind of the treadmill, and being able to build a residual asset with Elise, which is a very real thing that we have tremendously benefited from even during a pandemic. That is really real. And then thirdly, it's paying it forward. It's really the ability to share the products, to share the opportunity with so many people. And that process has motivated me just to get better, because I didn't know what in the heck we were doing 3.5 years ago. I just knew that the product worked. So this Elevation Call is just another tool for you, for your team to plug into. We're so grateful to our team members who really give us great illustrations, examples. And tonight we have a very exciting call planned for you guys. But first, I want Hal to talk a little bit about where we are in the month.
Okay.
And then also let's talk about the fastest growing new teams right now on the leaderboard.
So with Elise, one of the things that Stephen designed and talks about is breaking the month into 3 10-day segments. And those segments are, the first 10 days is considered what, Lisa? The white zone. And the white zone is all about recruiting, adding names to your list, inviting people to hear this overview, beginning to build relationships or initial contacts with people, setting up presentations. We're presently now in the blue zone, the next 10 days of the month. And oftentimes what we see is from the first 10 days, and of course, this also translates from month to month, but a focus of the white zone, going back, following up with the people we've presented to, maybe people who came to meetings in our homes, we've talked to via Zoom or or got in front of our upline, our different leadership. We follow up with them. We try to help them navigate the move forward toward enrollment. And when they do enroll, then we help them start making their list of people that they want to work with immediately. Maybe their top 10 people of their list of 100, and we start working with them to get them set up and going. And also through their back office, learning how important it is to understand how to navigate your own back office, some details like that. So that's the zone we're in. The last 10 days of the month of the red zone, and oftentimes there's a special that Stephen puts out in product, but it's closing the month toward rank. But right now we're setting all that up in the white zone. So, or the blue zone, sorry.
And I just also want to interject, if you're new, we have a group Facebook page. It's called Team Unlimited. And there's some other Facebook pages that you might want to inquire about, but Team Unlimited is our platform. We also have a YouTube channel where our calls are archived. So definitely get with your upline, your sponsor. We also have a leadership ladder. And so those are the materials that we can help you as you just kind of wrap your mind around this.
And on YouTube, it's called Team Unlimited Live. And so you got to have that live in there. Otherwise you'll get this rap group from somewhere.
Yeah. You'll notice that we don't sing.
We are not that. So anyway.
And the other thing that we love to do, and this is a really fun opportunity. I'm going to have you.
I always like to do this.
You guys, the leaderboard is the way that we kind of keep a pulse on new growth, new volume, new enrollments.
The way Zalise does.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And Stephen really keeps an eye on this leaderboard. And today we actually are excited that we have 6 people from our team on the top 25.
Team Unlimited, 6 people on the international leaderboard. Again, this is top 25. So we'll start at number 14, Dr. Steve and Jenny Todd in Florida. All right. And then someone kind of new to the leaderboard, Pam Riley. Out of Arizona.
Woo!
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And then someone who's been on this before, but jumping back in is Mary Jo Perry out of Mississippi, has jumped in there at number 6. And then once again, someone who's very familiar with the leaderboard, and we love it, and that is Laura McClendon at number 5.
No, she's number 3.
Is that? Oh, sorry, I misread your number. Yeah, I need bifocals.
Number 3.
Anyway, number 3. That's right. We had the top 3 this week. Mm-hmm. So we actually have the top 3 as of today
on Team
Wildfire. And they're all also on Team Wildfire,
right.
The Fergusons.
That's right.
And the Todd's group. So anyway, Laura McClendon at number 3. Then new to the leaderboard, sponsored by Jason and Julie Smith, is Tim and Lori Alexander, who's on this call right now. They were number 1 last week. And then another newcomer in that Tyler area is Sam Richmond, who is number 1 right now on all of the international and national leaderboard for Zalise. So congratulations to all of you. We're super proud of you. And I also know that there's some other ambassadors who just this week have told me, I'm going to get on that leaderboard. A couple of them have said, I will be on the leaderboard. So anyway, that's great, guys. Congratulations.
And so you guys, we're going to shift gears, but congratulations to everybody who's working. And you might not be on the leaderboard, but today, really, we're celebrating 3 main beautiful points that we see played out in our business. And those 3 are courage, service, and personal action. And we're going to just kind of share a story because we are inspired by you guys on a daily basis. And many of you guys know, I mean, our country is a different country now that we've had a year and a half of pandemic. I mean, people are in a different place, and literally, I mean, we couldn't really go anywhere for a very, very long time. And the only way we could share this business is through Zoom. And so Stephen Thompson has been really chomping at the bit to get this company moving again and to really get people, just to start meeting live instead of Zoom. And the other, he watches this leaderboard, and he was very aware and inspired by, Linda and Jim Ferguson and Steve and Jenny Todd's group out of Tyler, Texas, Jason Smith and Laura and those guys. And the other day he called us and said, hey, I'm not going to be able to go to Central America. I'm looking for somebody who's really building right now. And I've got my eye on Steve and Jenny Todd and that Pensacola group. And he goes, what do you think we could maybe put together a tour next week? And that was like, 4 or 5 days notice. And Hal, I want you to kind of jump in and tell a little bit more about what happened, and then let's talk to Steve and Jenny.
So what happened was that we said, well, sure, Stephen always says, call them and see if they're willing to host and get this thing going. Of course, we call the Todds and they're all about it. No doubt about it. Bring it on. Let's go. Let's do it. And we said, well, it's not just you guys. Get your leaders there and see what they can put together, because let's just see what we can put together for Stephen to come to town. Let's have meetings. Let's have one-on-ones. I kind of said, get some people on tabletop with Stephen, like not just big meetings, but also face-to-face. And of course they said, yes, absolutely. We'll take it on, whatever we need to do. And so that's what started happening. And this is all kind of last minute, guys. And, we had summertime trips, things, so forth. And we just talked to Susan Welch, who's one of the people that hosted. Her and her sister are in Chicago this week on a I guess what is it called?
She's a dental training.
Dental training of some sort. It's been set up a while. And so they said, sure, we'll do it, but I'm going to be out of town. And they backed it up to the night before. And so anyway, just a lot came together in just a few days for Stephen to come to the Panhandle. Is that what you're?
Yes.
Okay.
And I want to bring Steve and Jenny Todd on the line as well. Steve and Jenny, when you have like just a few days to kind of plan a whole CEO tour, how does that feel?
It's exciting that Stephen wants to come here and show the flag. I just think it's awesome. We were just honored for him to be here, and we asked our team to step up, and they truly are teammates of ours in this business, and they stepped up. They're phenomenal people that we've learned and grown with the last few years. So it's just they're just fantastic people, and we couldn't be more humble to work with them. You want to say something, huh? You're better.
So what did it feel like?
Yeah.
Okay, you want the real thing? I mean, for like 10 minutes. Ooh.
I was all right.
Yeah, Steve's always all right. It was, I'll just be honest with you, I went, it's a little gut wrenching, but you get over that, and then the adrenaline kicks in and you just get going and just do it. So I could have said that, but in a sort of a dark way, but I'm not gonna go there.
Jenny though rose up. I admire so much. She just stepped up, did the scheduling with our team, with Brian Welsh. We'll talk more about that in a minute, and Pat and George and Susan, and they just stepped up and invited people. It was really fun. I mean, I never looked at it to be an anxious, but personally, I just said, hey, let's have some fun with it and get to know Stephen, which was quite an honor to do that.
Well, and I think you guys put together an evening meeting on Wednesday night. And I know that with Susan leaving town, Brian Welch stepped up and said, I'll host that meeting. And then you guys put together some kind of one-on-ones, maybe a couple group meetings, smaller meetings the next day, and then followed by an evening meeting on Thursday.
Mhm.
That's right. And tell you, with respect to Brian and Susan, Susan's leaving town. She had this big dental commitment. Brian's busy too, and this is all just, nobody's full time in this. And Stephen had some problems getting down on that night before, and Brian just stepped up. I mean, I can't say any more about Brian Weston. He just stepped up and he owned it. I can just tell you that, right? He owned that meeting, he owned it, and I was very, very proud of he and Susan both. They just stepped up, as well as and then the next night when we had the one-on-ones, everybody, just sort of, it just fell into place, and everybody did their job. And I don't know if you call this a job, because it's not, but it was certainly
you have to excuse us because it was a really exciting 30 hours. And when we talk about it, reflect on it, you just get excited about it and
Yeah,
just
you
talk
do.
about everything that happened in that 30 hours. So,
Yeah.
maybe you need to direct us with some questions, Lisa, to get us back on track.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing to kind of watch from, from our vantage point. But I want to also, just within this, I'd love to bring Brian Welch on, because Brian, there was a moment where you were hosting this meeting and I saw pictures of a bunch of people, a bunch of cars in front of your house. You want to add to
Well,
that?
I just want to say that, so what we know, what we've learned, having been in this business a while, we kind of have to prepare people that Stephen Thompson's coming to town, but frankly, the fact of the matter is that sometimes he gets there really late and sometimes he didn't get there at all. It just happens. It's been that way for about 3 years. And we kind of tell people it could happen that way. It's just the way it is as a busy CEO, so forth. But I'm not sure that Brian Welch knew that. And so when the moment at 7 o'clock and Stephen said, it's like he's late, he isn't here. Brian says, these people are in my home. Let's start this meeting. He's never done this before. You talk about, this guy's lived with courage, but not like this kind of thing. So
Brian Welch,
Brian, come on and tell us about what your mindset was when you said, let's do this, and what it is after.
Okay.
Gonna have
there you
guys
go.
hear me on this thing?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
barely.
Okay, well, first of all, you have to give Susan the credit for this, because when she walked in the door 5 days prior and said, hey, listen, we're going to host a meeting and I'm not going to be here, so you want to do it? My initial response is, you're crazy as hell. I'm not doing that. I said, I don't even know what I'm doing. But when you look at Susan's beautiful eyes, as much as I love her, I'm like, yep, all right, I'm in. Just know what I need to do. Me and her got through that part. As far as Wednesday night goes, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, whatever night it was. Steve and Jenny came, 7 o'clock rolled around. I said, hey, let's do this. He'll show up. He shows up. I got started, told a little story, and my mindset at that point, for everybody on the call, just so you know, I've never done this before. I was a pilot. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm winging it worse than I've ever done in my life. But my mindset was, these folks came to my house. I called them. Susan and I, some of them are friends of ours, some are acquaintances. Just so everybody knows on the call, when they come to your house, I just had the feeling they're there to hear from me as well. You don't just kind of stand in the back and keep your mouth shut. I just kept getting more and more of a feeling. Luckily, I had the Todds there. Jenny does her standard smoking it, getting everything done and getting everything motivated, kept everything light. We did start a little late, lost a few people there, but we press on through that. But at the end, I just felt like, you know what? Number one, I can do this. That's the number one thing. I just looked at the screen. I watched her do it. No offense, I can't do it that well, but I do this. And the one thing I added, I know we do duplication. We don't add things. We do that. What I did add, though, were the things that I wanted to know about when people are giving it to me. And an example would be the simple things. Like I explained to them, hey, you get free stuff. Sell it, use it, give it away, do things like that. Things like that don't just jump out at them when you're jamming all that information at them. So I stopped and gave them just a little bit of knowledge that I felt. One other example I'll tell you that one of the guys that we're going to sign up said got his attention was, I looked at him and I said, hey, look at it like this. It's like when you buy a new car. As soon as you drive it off the lot, you feel like you've been ripped off. You feel like you're bad, blah, blah, blah. But a week later, you're driving a new car and everybody's happy as hell. So that's kind of how I looked at it and how I did it. And that's me, but that's also the simplest part. I don't think I did that much. I don't think I did anything special. Susan was there doing an awful lot more than I was. She took care of a lot more. She's a lot better looking and a lot more personable than I am. I kind of stood in the back, making sure I didn't want to, get mad at anybody, I guess. But that was really my mindset. When they're in your house, yeah, you're bringing people in to help you, but those folks want to hear from you. They want to hear some little things from you, how it worked for you. What things are you worried about? What things are you not worried about anymore? What things should you not be worried about? And also this upline thing we always talk about. They want to know from you, what happens if it doesn't work for me? Well, if it don't work for you and I can't do it, those folks sitting right over there can do it for you. So those are the things that I don't know, I think we have 3 or 4 people that are going to sign up. Maybe, I don't know. You got to call them back and get after them, which I'm doing. That's really my mindset. So I'll be quiet now and not embarrass myself anymore.
Well, Brian, I just want to say thank you for your courage. And just, I'm not sure any of us really feel like we're ready the first time that we show the plan.
Or the 10th.
Or the 10th. But I have this picture in my mind of you doing the plan with bare feet in your living room. And I'm like, only in Florida.
Yeah, I didn't think about that aspect. I had a t-shirt on. The t-shirt was dirty. I had dirty shorts on because I was parking cars and I was in bare feet. And when I'm standing back over on the side of the room, Susan's dressed up very pretty like she always is. And I'm like, heck with it. Maybe they won't look at my feet. And I said, I'll go ahead. But I didn't think about it until Miss Jenny sent me the picture. And now I was pretty embarrassed about it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
It's awesome, man. I mean,
So,
yeah. But the thing is, you had also a special opportunity the following morning. And not everybody has that opportunity. Do you want to just share just the highlight of what happened the following day for you?
Well, I just went and had breakfast with Stephen Thompson. I did. Without getting into a lot, I'd rather just leave it. Really, we had a nice breakfast. He's a wonderful person. For those of you out here who haven't met him or wondering what it is, in my life, for my main career, I worked with some very special people in the military. Did some very special things all over the world. I can honestly tell anyone on this call that gentleman that sat across the table could have been one of those assets in any group I ever worked with. He has a mindset of absolute perfection. He has a mindset. It was kind of funny. We were talking about he gets over focused sometimes. I gave him a pointer there, but I can't believe I'm giving a millionaire a pointer, but I did. But I can tell everybody on the call, he has a mindset of the highest quality operators I ever worked with in my life all over. He could have fit in with any of those operational units and fit right in. He absolutely impressed me with, not his demeanor or anything like, but just his personality, what he was focused on, what he cared about, those type of things. It's a pretty special meeting for me. You don't get to meet people like that. And when you do, you take it away. He definitely is a tier 1 asset in my mind.
Awesome.
thanks, Brian.
Brian, thank you for your example. And Steve and Jenny, you have built this beautiful team. And as a result of that, everybody pitched in. Tell us a little bit how the team made this happen.
Well, first of all, I think it was Stephen had some travel issues, and because of that, Susan and Jenny and Brian had to step up, and they did, and they just stepped into the situation. And if Stephen had been on time, that probably wouldn't have happened, because we would have just let Stephen would have taken the plan and shown it. So that in itself was a blessing, because I think that things happen in life, in business, and anywhere, and we are all leaders of our business. So with that being said,
So George
Blaze is somebody that we've sponsored, has been in our organization for quite a while. George stepped up, and
You just called him on the
I just
phone.
called him up and I said, "Hey, George, would you do some meetings? Steven's coming to town." He goes, "Sure. How many people you want there?" That's what he said. So that's all he said. He didn't say any more. He said, "How many you want there?" And so George really was methodical in his scheduling and what he did. He just stepped up and did it. Pat is on the call. Pat had some people come to the meeting, and
We called
she stepped up.
Andres.
Andres is somebody, I don't know if Andres is on the call, but Andres had a group meeting,
And Steve just called him and said, "Andres, we're having a meeting at your place."
yeah, I did.
And he was so
And Andres said,
excited.
"Bring it on." He said, "We'd love to have him." Andres has a full-time health and wellness business, full-time. I mean, he works probably 6 days a week, 7, and he just said, yeah, bring it. So my point is, our team, I couldn't be prouder of everyone that attended the meetings and are on the calls tonight. I hope it didn't leave anybody out.
But I would
we're
like to
just-
add, Lisa, when Lisa and Hal called them, they asked Stephen, you know, where to go. And he said, well, let's go down where Steve and Jenny are working. But this 30 hours that we did, it wasn't Steve and Jenny.
No,
We reached out to these wonderful team members and they just rose to the occasion. They were exemplary in what a team member does. They came and pulled meetings together, and it just was a great example of the teamwork that goes on in this business. You don't do this business by yourself. You have team members that just rise to the occasion, and together, everyone working together, we have a greater sum, a greater whole that we reach. And again, I just can't thank and give enough credit to our team members. George Blaze set up 4 great meetings, and Andres had a great meeting at his house. Pat brought 2 great prospects, and it just was phenomenal.
you know, I just to let you know, I volunteer on the Blue Angels flight line, and I just come off the flight line, and we just had a great demo, and they were, you know, it was been there all day. And, you know, I had mentioned that to Stephen, that, you know, the Blue Angels is military precision teamwork. That's what it is. And when Brian mentioned that tonight about Stephen's and everything, it just brings back those memories back a lot longer than Brian was in, that the command structure that I was around, and how, yeah, I mean, it just brought back a lot of memories there. So I totally am just humbled by Stephen and his ability to bring us all and bring this opportunity to us. I mean, it's very special that we're here. So
Thanks, guys. So we talked to you guys earlier today and about this call tonight. And this is a question for Steve. Jenny, you can jump in too, of course. But Steve, when we talked to you earlier today, we asked you, what do people, not just on your team, but out there, what's the one thing that you believe, maybe 2, but we talked about it earlier, that they need to have? What is it? What do they need to, what, you know, what's their what?
Well, I think the biggest thing, people need to look at themselves and say, why do I do this business? What is it? Why? You have to ask yourself that. Nobody's going to answer that for you. That's not something Stephen Thompson can ask you. That's not something that he can ask anybody. We have to reach down inside ourselves, and we have to ask ourselves, why? And if your why isn't big enough, and our why is big, okay, our why is, we've got 11 grandkids that we want to help. And our why and our purpose, you have to also know your purpose, guys. If you don't know your purpose in life, right? Hal knows this. If you don't know your purpose, find it and keep asking and look for it. And then when you find it, ask yourself, why? Why do I do this? And if you'll find that why, then when Stephen calls, or whoever calls, Hal and Lisa call, whoever calls, guys, the next step is easy, because it's an opportunity then. It's not a question. And if you are on this call and you have not answered your why, then you need to answer it. And you need to do it now, not tomorrow, not next week or year. You need to ask yourself, why? Why do I do this business?
Lisa, I would like to have George get on the call and just say, you know, some of his thoughts about, you know, and I just, you know, he just did a fabulous job of, you know, again, scheduling these meetings, and we just had a great time. We sat through pouring down, you can't see 2 feet in front of you rain, and we ate some flaming oysters, and we had a great time, but we were also with Stephen Thompson. There's so much fun in this business.
So, yeah, George.
Yeah, let George say a few
something.
words.
Mute yourself.
Hey, welcome. Hey, Helen, please.
Who is that guy? I've never seen you.
Hey, I tell you a couple of things I'll point out that I thought might be important. You know, I had some people that I was reaching out to that I consider whales. That's the kind of fish you try to bring in the boat and it turns over the whole boat, right? And so one of the things that happened whenever they gave me the opportunity to be with Stephen Thompson 101 is I said, I got to go after all my whales, right? So I had one guy that I'd been cultivating for about a year and a half. He's an executive director for another network, has about 10,000 people in his downline, okay? And so one of the things that we did when I started setting these meetings up, and I said, hey guys, how would you like to sit down with a guy that's put together about a $600 or $700 million company? You think you might have a few questions you want to ask him? He'll tell you his story. You can tell your story. I'm not sure every day you get a chance to do that. Well, that's how I got them there. They didn't even know who they were coming to see. Matter of fact, if you want to really be comical, this guy named Kevin, Steve had been chasing him, Steve Todd, and had asked him to come to the same meeting and told him he couldn't because he already was obligated for that lunch with somebody else. Okay. So one of the things I just kind of highlight for the call is if you get a chance like we had there, be sure and go after your very executive super whales that you're chasing, because Steve Thompson can handle that process. I want to take just a second just to share what I mean. You know, for instance, another guy I went after was a Green Beret decorated soldier that got shot 7 times in Somalia. Well, he has another sphere of influence. He's over one of the largest security companies in South Alabama. And so I invite these guys there. Steve Thompson, when he sat down, this is how you know you're dealing with a pro, because I used to deal with people that built networks a lot. Steve started adjusting his clothing to match the guys I had sitting at the table. That's the first thing that happened. He started adjusting it. He took his coat off. He took his cufflinks out. He started rolling his sleeve up. He started adapting immediately to the environment. And then whenever he sat down and the talk started, he began to banter the way I see executives banter back and forth. They share just a little bit of information, and the other person has to do something. And Steve was just a crazy pro at handling this guy I've been chasing for a year and a half that has a downline of maybe 10,000 people. Well, the funny part about it is Stephen knew his boss. This guy's an executive director. His boss is Stephen's friend, Stephen Thompson's friend. So Kevin took a picture of himself with Stephen Thompson and sent it to his guy that was up the line, right? So the point I'm trying to make is if you get a chance to put Stephen in front of real senior executive people, he adapts just like a chameleon. Because see, we had 4 meetings that day and I watched him change facade each meeting according to who he was with. Pro at networking, pro at being a chameleon. So that would be something I'd say to the call. You get that opportunity, you get some of the whales in front of him. These people were brand new. You know, I didn't need him to share the plan with them. I needed him to capture them emotionally with his leadership, and he did.
Hey, let me ask you this, George. Tell us a little bit about your background. Just what do you do for work?
I'm a financial advisor. I've been a financial advisor since 1994, so 26 years or so, 27 years. Also was a church planter. My wife and I started 23 churches. I've had 4 other careers besides that, so a lot of background in that process. But I think Stephen Thompson is exactly right, and I think you guys are right. It's about it being able to bond with people emotionally. When I became a financial advisor, I never knew when I popped to the top part of the company that people give you their money because they like you and they trust you. I thought it was about Wall Street knowledge. I thought it was about showing them the financial plan. They give me their money because they like me and trust me. Well, that's one of the things that I'm just kind of learning about this process. When I watched Stephen Thompson kind of bond with that other guy, I could see that emotional bond forming. So big deal, gang. That's the reason the face-to-face stuff needs to come back.
And last question for you, George. Why Zalise? tell us tell us real shortly your Zalees story.
Was doing a financial presentation in front of a person. I've been sleeping 2 to 4 hours a night for years. And that person said, "Oh my God, I got to get you over here to see Steve Thompson, Steve Todd and Jenny." And so, of course, they began all kind of things in my sleep, gave me some, some of the CBD products and and started Dream. And I came home and my wife started taking that stuff. She had been suffering with IBS for 11 years. And the last lower GI guy we had seen, because we had seen GI people for 11 years, prescribed her a prescription that was $11,000. And we refused to fill the $11,000 prescription. She was well in 3 weeks.
On CBD.
So one of the things I did with Steve and Jenny, I said, "Listen, I got all these clients, they're all messed up. Will you come to my house if I gather them all in there and just see if you can help them?" And he did. So Pat Taylor, who was a 77-year-old nurse, had IBS and aching bones. And I had another client that had a grandson they were raising, was ADD. He came off his ADD medicine in 3 weeks. So it has to do with finding a need and filling it, Hal and Lisa. That's why Zalees. It works. We got great people like you guys around us, and it's the real deal.
Well,
Matter of fact, one of the things I got out of Stephen's presentation is I really got to listen to the science. When he was in supplements long before Zalees, he learned how to have that stuff bioavailable. So he's not half stepping with the company. It's got an ace in the hole. So you got something that's an ace. It's not just a sales process. You have a company that has products that are aces.
Well, George, thank you so much for jumping on, and Steve and Jenny, thank you for just not just sharing your experiences, but the courage, the service, the consistent action that you and your team take. We just are very inspired by you guys. But I want to transition because some of you guys.
Before you transition, Miss
Yeah,
Lisa, I'm sorry about something. I want to add something real quick, if that's okay. Okay. Dr. Steve just said something about the why. I wasn't going to say anything, but since he brought it up, the why that I stepped up in front of the class, if you will, the group, was to support Susan. And I told Hal we were going to get on the leaderboard. What I meant was Susan. I'm putting Susan on the leaderboard. Okay, just so you know where we're going there. And I received a text from her. She's in Chicago. She says she's on this call, and I haven't heard a word from her. So 2 minutes on her, because I don't get to see her. I don't know how to make this computer work where I can see her. She says she can see me though. So
That's because your big mug is right there in front of everybody. But hang on before we go. So it's really interesting, Brian, and I want everyone to pay attention to this. Now, y'all may think, "Oh, this is another love story." Hal and Lisa always talk about their love story, and so forth. But I want to tell you, one of the most consistent whys that I have heard in the last probably 2 months, maybe 3, has been from Brian supporting Susan. Not just supporting, but he consistently says, "Let me tell you why I'm doing this. Susan can do this. There's no doubt about it. But I want to, do this with her. It's important to her. So because it's important to her, I want to do it." Are we what?
I think
Are we frozen?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Your video's not moving. So you can keep talking.
Yeah, we can hear you, Hal, Lisa, we can hear you, but you're just a little bit light. We may have just lost them.
Yeah, this is George. I'll say something while they're coming back. It was kind of funny because one of the things that my executive guy asked Stephen Thompson was, he asked him why. Why was he doing this? I was a little surprised. He asked him that was what he did. Stephen Thompson told him he was doing it for impact, not for money. so that he could impact people's lives.
That's right.
That was his answer. So that really hit home with my guy.
Susan, you're there in Chicago. We're waiting for Hal and Lisa to come back. But you're there in Chicago. You want to unmute yourself, Susan?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. And I want to thank my up leadership and my special person, Brian, for making Wednesday night amazing. We had a lot of fun. I thought it went really well. The feedback I got from everybody that was there was that they really learned a lot. So I wanted to share that with everybody because we had a situation where we made it work. It was amazing. Jenny Todd, it was like a tag team between everybody just sharing their information and stuff too. So just understand, if you're new to this business, you do not do it by yourself, and you need to reach out to your upline. Okay. And what one doesn't know, someone else does know. So I think that's super important. And I don't know if Brian's getting to see me, but hi, because I'm talking, but no. And you know, when I got out of the military, I was a dentist in the military, and a lieutenant colonel said to me, Susan, if you take good care of people, the money always takes care of itself. And that's the thing with Stephen Thompson, is his impact. The money always takes care of itself when you're true, and your values and why you're doing it is coming from the heart. And I think that's something that Hal and Lisa has taught us. And I feel it in the people in this organization. So not only is this something where it's my plan B, I call it, but what this company gives me is in a completely amazing support team for Susan Marie Welch. And Brian is part of that with me. We are doing this together. It's exciting. And, you know, our motto is forward. But I just wanted to say thank you to just amazing people that are on this particular team that we have. And we are elevating it and going forward and impacting people's lives with the product as well as the financial opportunities. So thanks for letting me speak. Have a good evening.
You want to say something?
So Hal and Lisa have lost their internet, they said. And so they're going to get back on as soon as they can. Steve and Jenny, would you come back on just a moment?
We're here.
And
Yeah.
Lisa and Susan, we're just so proud of you guys down there. Stephen Thompson had some amazing things to say about his insight for Brian, just like Brian had insight for Stephen. And so he is excited about that connection with you guys. But Stephen, Jenny, you guys have a growing team. I know that Hal and Lisa asked you. Oh, there they are.
They're back.
They're back. They had to get on their phone. You got to unmute yourself, girl.
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, we
Yes,
sure
we can hear
can.
you now.
Okay, sorry about that, guys, but thank you for jumping in. We actually had a complete network failure. The Hogs game is not on, and we have no Wi-Fi, so Hal's going crazy.
It's okay.
But anyway, Linda, I'm not sure where you guys were. We dropped off when Brian was talking, and we were talking slower and slower and slower.
We were just wrapping it up and appreciating all that have been shared by Susan and Brian. And I was asking Steve and Jenny if they would build on what they were talking about the why. But you said you were talking about a transition, so you pick it up.
Did we hear from Susan?
Yeah. So did we hear from Susan Welch? Okay.
Yes, we did.
Awesome.
Yes, we did. Mhm.
Well, the thing I wanted to transition on is just, I mean, it's wonderful to hear about your team, Linda, that you and Jim built, that Steve and Jenny built. But those people who are brand new are going, like, oh my gosh, do you have to have a team in place? Do you have to have Stephen Thompson come in order to really do well in this business? And I told you guys, I'm daily inspired by my team. And I got very inspired by a text I got from Susan Everett, and I hope she's still on this call. But Susan, you said, oh my gosh, I need to get the Courage Award. Can you come to the line and tell us what you did as your act of courage this week?
Okay, so I had what is called your annual physical with your primary care physician. I refer to it as my annual physical, which is a joke because I only do it about every 2 or 3 years. But I did it this year because I knew that what I was going to do is use that time to talk to him. So every time he would ask me a question, then I would turn around and ask him a question about endocannabinoid system or stuff like that. And, you know, I was able to get away with that a little bit because he and I have bantered about health and, you know, nutrition and stuff like that before. So it wasn't totally out of the box for me. I mean, because he's made fun of me for being, you know, all into nutrition and stuff. But then I just go back at him and say, and how often do you see me other than a so-called annual physical? So it worked out really good to be able to do that. And I also asked him, I said, you know, you didn't learn this in college, right, Doc? And he said, no, I know nothing about the endocannabinoid system. And he has agreed to set up an appointment with me so that I can pull Lisa in. And we're just going to do it as I said that it would be just a training session for, you know, for what endocannabinoid system is and what it, and how it would help his people. And then I also, you know, some of the people that I used to, a good friend of mine, I know is one of his patients. I know, you know, I don't talk about her health, but yet we still talk about her. So I told him, I said, you know, this would be the best thing in the world for, her name is Donna. I said, this would really help Donna. So you need to get on board so that you can help her.
Awesome, Susan. And so Susan, tell us just your background is what?
Well, yeah, my background is IT. And I mean, I'm not intimidated by people of higher positions. I've been in front of CEOs and all that kind of stuff all the time, but I get a little bit intimidated because I'm not a science geek, or at least I don't have the reputation of being a science geek. And so I don't feel like, you know, I could sit here and talk to him all day long about the science of this, and he's not going to respect it from me like he would if I can pull in somebody like Lisa. But yet he does, because I've had those conversations with me, he respected me enough to know that it was worth pulling in, worth using his time for.
Well, I was proud of you, Susan, for just, you know, having a conversation that required courage.
It did. I said it a lot before I went in and practiced what I was going to say. And I forget now exactly, I can't remember now how I started it, but it was so funny because, you know, I practiced, okay, I have to have my lead line. Beyond that, I'll let it go. But I had to have a line as to how I was going to get the conversation started.
Do you remember how you did it, Susan?
No, I knew you were going to ask me. Now I can't remember.
It was something brilliant, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it fit right in. I can't remember because I thought, oh shoot, I can't remember what it was now. But anyway, it fit the moment. And that's, you know, I just felt like it was funny because he said something, I can't remember what it was, but he said something and I just felt like, you know, just it's like the little voice said, use that. And so that's what I did. I adapted what I was going to say to what he said, and it worked. He gave me his attention.
Well, that's a beautiful thing, Susan. And I'm just proud of you because the way that you build this business is just one conversation at a time. And whether it's a conversation with your family, whether it's a friend, whether it's, you know, somebody that's a whale, as George called it, you know, for me, it was just, I started building this business with people that I knew and trusted. And it wasn't anyone that was, you know, a superstar in any one particular industry, but it was people who really needed the product, people that had business skills. And that's kind of really what I focused on. But it all requires courage, because you basically are putting yourself out there that you're doing something different, that there's a project that you're working on that has really captivated your passion and your interest. And you would love to share it with others just to see if there's anyone that they could refer to you as a good fit. And I'm proud of you. And I look forward to getting to talk to Dr. Taylor. So thank you for that, Susan. And the other thing I wanted to mention is, I don't know if Pam Riley is on the line. Pam Riley, are you on this line right now? Pam is in Arizona. And she may or may not be, she might not be in a position to be able to talk, but Pam, I did not know. She was actually introduced to me by Laura Curdy, and we had business connections, but Arizona is a completely new market. And I was living in Indiana when I was introduced to this and brought it to Arkansas. So those are really the two states that I have focused on. So Arizona is new, and our CEO, Stephen Thompson, was there last week for a founding meeting. And Pam Riley was actually there, as well as another one of our newer ambassadors, Christy. I don't know if either one of those guys are on the line right now, but it would be fun to get to hear from your perspective, really kind of seeing this launch in Phoenix. Okay, so Pam can't get on right now. She can't actually unmute, But one of the things that I challenged Pam with, I said, you know, Pam, we need to start sharing this with people. We need to start really kind of telling people what we're doing. And she said, you know, it would really help me if I had just a really short, kind of a sizzle video that I'm kind of sharing just a few highlights. And so she and I actually kind of came up with a little Zoom 5-minute overview. And she actually shared that with a few of her top prospects. And that has really started building her team just this week. We've spent some time on Zooms this weekend. And I think we actually have one of her new ambassadors, Valerie, on the line tonight. So a special welcome to Valerie. And just, again, Pam showed an act of courage by just kind of going with her gut, you know, finding a tool that really worked for her, getting in front of her prospects. And that is what it really inspires me. It's these daily acts of courage. It's acts of service for your team. And it's also the personal actions, the consistent actions on a daily basis that moves this business forward. So I could go on, but let me give you guys a couple of just dates. I want you guys to write down. June 26th at 11 o'clock Central, we have our free skincare symposium. And that is a tool. And we need to register for that. We also can register our guests. It's a free thing. And this will really kind of be the science of the endocannabinoid system with skin. Marielle Weintraub, our amazing PhD clinical research scientist specialist, will be doing a science overview. And you guys, anyone who wants to slow down the aging process in skin, anyone who's in the business of skincare is a great fit to invite to start your business with just skin. In addition to that, obviously we have the internal health division, but the science is very similar. And this will be a really impressive way for you to get your prospects in front of skin science. So we just wanted to mention that. For those of you guys following Project 500, we did figure out, thanks to Debbie Gentry's help, that there is a Project 500 meeting that tonight at 9 o'clock Central. And that goes through June the 27th. So I'm going to let Hal have kind of final words. Did your team lose?
Yeah, they lost. So
Hal's team lost. You guys please give them a
so
little
we're
bit of
done
love.
for the year. That's cool. So just a great call tonight. I appreciate. I think I got cut off what I was going to say earlier. I got cut off on the internet when I was talking about Brian. You know, he's been very consistent on his why, and in the moment when you have to make a decision to step up and do and prove your why, he did it. And you know, his why they shared with you. So anyway, congratulations to all those on the leaderboard. Welcome to the new people, and you know, let's keep at it.
Yeah, daily acts of courage, guys. It starts with your own courage, just to take your why and to start really paying that forward to other people. So I'm going to pause right now. We're going to just wait to hear from you guys. Any questions or comments? Because I'm on my phone, I'm really having a hard time really seeing even who's on the call. So Lyndon, Jim, Steve, and Jenny, is there anything that we missed?
No, I think that y'all did a great job. And one of the things that I'd like to add, and it's kind of like, you know, kind of dovetails with Brian and Susan and where they are right now, is that you don't have to be a couple to build this business, you know, but I will tell you that if you are a couple building this business together, you know, so many families, you know, the husband Tarzan goes out and does his thing with his bunch of guys and girls, and then Jane goes out and does her thing with her bunch of guys and girls, and then they come home at night just, you know, to watch TV, argue about the bills, put the kids to bed, and they start, you know, it's rinse and repeat the next day. And a lot of times the only thing you have in common is the stress, you know. But when you start building this business together, it's something you're yoked together and you're going in the same direction with the same goals. And it's something that brings you together, unites you together. And I think that's one of the strengths that Linda and I have. That's what Steve and Jenny have. I know that's what Hal and Lisa have, and so many other people, Lorena and Jean. You know, so
I will tell you too, though. But if you're single, you don't have to deal with that. Okay. So
you only got one person to get in line.
that's exactly right. Okay. So if you're building it by yourself, don't use this as an excuse. We're just saying that as a couple, that's what you work towards.
It's a
But
strength.
if you're a single, guys, no excuses, move ahead, do it.
Right.
Okay. I also want to remind everybody that we're going to be in Tyler, Texas on Thursday night. And yeah, that's exactly right. Going to be in Tyler and helping that amazing team down there, the Tyler, Texas Tornado, and helping them continue to.
We're going to be
take
in
it over.
Tim and Lori Alexander's house.
Mhm. Yeah, so we're excited about that.
That is awesome, guys. How far of a drive is that for you guys?
12 hours.
12 hours.
You know, and here's what I'm saying. You guys all make it look easy. I think we'd asked the Todds how many times they've driven from Pensacola to Tyler, and I think it was at least 3 times. So we definitely build this business in our backyard, but the commitment that you guys have shown in building this business in other areas, Linda and Jim and Steve and Jenny, is beautiful. It's an inspiration for
I
sure.
want to comment on that, Lisa. I talked to Stephen about that. You know, I said, Stephen, he said, let me tell you something. He said, and he's very direct about it. He said, do not sponsor people you can't support. And he was emphatic about it. And so, you know, if you think you're going to sponsor somebody in Hawaii and you can't go to Hawaii to support that person, don't sponsor him. And he was very, very straight up about that. You know, and I think that's a great advice. You know, we want to support our teams, and we can, but our local team that we just talked about, it's a lot of fun being local. So I just let you know, you get to hang out and all that, and so it's really cool. So, you know, just information that Stephen passed on.
Great point.
Well, and I know that you guys have built this, Steve and Jenny, you guys built this really kind of all over globally because you started building this really during a pandemic. And so now you're just kind of bringing it to your backyard as this country opens up again. So great job on a great effort. Thank you again for stepping up the acts of courage to bring our CEO to Pensacola and really drive him from meeting to meeting. You guys, it's been an inspiration to see that team rise. So you guys, thank you to everyone for being on this call. This is recorded and we will upload it to our Team Unlimited Live page on YouTube. So definitely you guys reach out, let us know if you have questions, comments. We are always available. You guys all have our cell phone numbers and because we love to hear from you. So thank you again to everyone for joining us. And Robert, I just answered your text. I gave you my cell phone number. So let's talk after this call. Lots of love to you guys. Thanks again.
Make it a great week, guys. Go out and share the opportunity.
Thank you.